Welcome back to Mastering MHA MBA. This is part 3, the final part of chapter 5. We have covered why managers plan and the kinds of plans they use. Now, the practical payoff, the tools and techniques that make planning actually work. Knowing the types of plans is like knowing the names of tools. To build something, you have to use them. Managers have a whole toolkit of planning techniques, from peering into the future to learning from rivals to setting the right goals. Let us open it up. The first tool is forecasting, the attempt to predict future conditions. Some forecasts are qualitative, built on expert judgment. Others are quantitative, built on data and statistics. Either way, the goal is the same: reduce the fog ahead. But here is the rule every manager must internalize: every forecast is wrong, at least a little. The future refuses to be predicted perfectly. So treat a forecast as a useful guide, not a guarantee, and never plan as if it were certain. Confidence in a forecast is the fastest way to get blindsided, which is why smart managers always have a plan B. Contingency planning means preparing backup plans for when things go wrong and pre-deciding the trigger points that will set them in motion. When the surprise hits, and it will, you react in minutes instead of scrambling for days. Hope is not a strategy. Going further, scenario planning crafts full plans for several alternative futures: the optimistic case, the pessimistic case, and the ones in between. By rehearsing each in advance, you are ready no matter which future actually shows up. The point is not to predict the right scenario, but to be prepared for many. Why invent everything yourself? Benchmarking means finding who does something best anywhere, even in another industry, and comparing your performance to theirs. Then you adopt and adapt their best practices. The best organizations are shameless, disciplined learners from others. All of this depends on having the right goals, and not all goals are created equal. The classic test is to make them SMART. A SMART goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Vague hopes don't drive action, but a sharp, measurable target does. A powerful way to use them is management by objectives, or MBO, where a manager and employee agree on goals together and then jointly review progress against them. Shared goals create shared ownership, but beware, goals have a dark side. When targets become high pressure and tied to rewards, people start to game them. In one real case, school staff were caught altering students' test scores under intense performance pressure. The lesson is old but true. What you measure, people will optimize, sometimes dishonestly. Set goals wisely and watch the behavior they create. One more technique quietly makes everything else work better: participatory planning. Involve the very people who will have to carry the plan out. It builds their buy-in and commitment, and their frontline insight almost always improves the plan itself. Plans made with people stick. Plans imposed on people stall. Put it all together, and you have a complete planning toolkit. Forecast and plan for multiple scenarios. Benchmark against the best and set SMART goals. Keep contingencies ready for surprises, and plan with your people, not at them. Used together, these turn a vague intention into a plan that actually delivers. And today, artificial intelligence is supercharging the oldest tool in the kit: forecasting. Companies using AI-powered predictive analytics report roughly 65% better forecast accuracy and 70% faster decisions, with cost savings of 12 to 18%. The catch? These tools are only as good as the data behind them, and poor data quality is the number one obstacle. Better forecasts still start with better information. Let us recap part 3. Forecast the future, but never trust it blindly. Use contingency and scenario planning for surprises. Benchmark against the best. Set SMART goals and manage them carefully, because goals can be gamed. And plan participatively with the people who execute. This builds on our chapter notes from Schermerhorn and Bachrach's Exploring Management, 7th edition, drawing on forecasting, benchmarking, and management by objectives, updated with 2025 research on AI predictive analytics. We always show you the sources. And that completes chapter 5. You now understand why managers plan, the kinds of plans they use, and the techniques that make planning work. If this series is helping you, subscribe, and we will see you in chapter 6. Thanks for learning with Mastering MHA MBA.